the grey rock William Butler Yeats poets with whom I learned my trade, companions of the Cheshire cheese, here's an old story I've eerie made, imagining to old better please your ears than stories now in fashion, though you may think I waste my breath pretending that there can be passion that has more life in it than death, and though at bottling of your wine the bow-legged Goban had no say, the moral is yours because it is mine. When cups went round at close of day, is not that how good stories run? Somewhere within some hollow hill, if books speak truth in sly venomon, but let that be, the gods were still and sleepy, having had their meal, and smoky torches made a glare on painted pillars, on a deal of fiddles and of flutes hung there by the ancient holy hands that brought them from murmuring Nereus, on cups, old Goban hammered them and wrought them, and put his pattern round their tops to hold the wine they buy of him. But from the juice that made them wise all those had lifted up the dim imaginations of their eyes, for one that was like woman made before their sleepy eyelids ran and trembling with her passion said, "Come out and dig for a dead man, who is burrowing somewhere in the ground, and mock him to his face and then hollow him on with horse and hound, for he is the worst of all dead men." We should be dazed and terror-struck, if we but saw in dreams that room, those wine-drenched eyes, and curse our luck that emptied all our days to come. I knew a woman none could please, because she dreamed when but a child of men and women made like these. And after, when her blood ran wild, had ravelled her own story out, and said, "In 2 or in 3 years I must marry some poor lout," and having said it bursting tears. Since, tavern comrades, you have died, maybe your images have stood, mere bone and muscle thrown aside, before that roomful or as good. You had to face your ends when young, 'twas wine or women, or some curse, but never made a poorer song that you might have a heavier purse, nor gave loud service to a cause that you might have a troop of friends. You kept the muses' sterner laws, and unrepenting faced your ends, and therefore earned the right, and yet Dowson and Johnson most I praise, to troop with those the world has forgot, and copy their proud steady gaze. The Danish troop was driven out between the dawn and dusk, she said. Although the event was long in doubt, although the King of Ireland is dead and half the kings, before sundown all was accomplished. When the Stamuro, the King of Ireland's son, foot after foot was giving way, he and his best troops back to back had perished there, but the Danes ran, stricken with panic from the attack, the shouting of an unseen man. And being thankful Muro found, led by a foot all dipped in blood that had made prints upon the ground, where by old thorn trees that man stood. And though when he gazed here and there, he had but gazed on thorn trees, spoke, "Who is the friend that seems but air and yet could give so fine a stroke?" Thereon a young man met his eye, who said, "Because she held me in her love, and would not have me die, rock-nurtured Orph took a pin, and pushing it into my shirt, promised that for a pin's sake, no man should see to do me hurt. But there it is gone. I will not take the fortune that had been my shame seeing, King's son, what wounds you have." 'Twas roundly spoke, but when night came he had betrayed me to his grave, for he and the King's son were dead. I'd promised him 200 years, and went for all I'd done or said, and these immortal eyes shed tears. He claimed his country's need was most, I'd saved his life, yet for the sake of a new friend he has turned a ghost. What does he care if my heart break? I call for spade and horse and hound that we may harry him. Thereon she cast herself upon the ground and rent her clothes and made her moan. Why are they faithless when their might is from the holy shades that rove the grey rock and the windy light? Why should the faithfulest heart most love the bitter sweetness of false faces? Why must the lasting love what passes? Why are the gods by men betrayed? But thereon every god stood up with a slow smile and without sound, and stretching forth his arm and cup to where she moaned upon the ground, suddenly drenched her to the skin. And she with Goban's wine adrip, no more remembering what had been, stared at the gods with laughing lip. I have kept my faith, though faith was tried, to that rock-born, rock-wandering foot, and the world has altered since you died, and I am in no good repute with the loud host before the sea, that think sword strokes were better meant than lover's music. Let that be, so that the wandering foot is content.